You know that moment at the end of the day where you're still glued to your laptop? You've been answering emails, chasing invoices, booking appointments, maybe even fixing the printer, and you look up and you realize the whole day has absolutely disappeared. And the big ideas you keep telling yourself that you're going to get to later, they're still sitting on the shelf. If that feels familiar, you're just stuck in one of the biggest traps business owners fall into, which is trying to scale alone. Welcome back to the CEO Shift Show, a podcast for service-based business owners who are ready to stop running their business like a job and start scaling it like an asset. I'm your host, Carol Surbey, founder of the Scalable CEO Academy. Here, we believe in three things. Clarity creates confidence. Your business should always serve your life, not control it. And a steady progress always outperforms hustle. Today, we're diving into a tough but transformational truth. You cannot scale alone. So if you've been holding on to every single task, believing that no one else can do it as well as you, or fearing that hiring will just create more work, you're not alone. And I want you to hear this. The real cost of holding on is bigger than you think. By the end of this episode, not only will you see what it's costing you to stay the doer, but you'll also have a clear action plan to start delegating with confidence so that you can finally step into your role as CEO. So let's get into it. Delegation is scary. Let's just name it. Every CEO I've ever worked with, from the plumber growing a crew, to the consultant managing clients, to the marketer building an agency, they have wrestled with this very same fear. And it sounds like this. What if they mess up? It's faster just to do it myself. Hate that. I can't afford to hire yet. And clients, they only want to deal with me. I'm curious if any of that sounds familiar. And those thoughts don't mean that you're not ready. They mean that you have built an entire identity around being the one that holds it all together. And here's the truth. Delegation isn't about losing control. It's about gaining capacity to grow, capacity to think, capacity to breathe again. I had a trades client who resisted hiring an office assistant for months. He kept saying, by the time I explain it, I could have done it. 3 months later, after finally making the hire, he told me, Carol, I should have done this years ago. She's not perfect, but I finally have some headspace. And that's the shift. Moving from doing everything to leading the people and the systems that actually get everything done. Does this make sense? And if you're scared, good. The fear means that you're right on the edge of growth. So let's talk about a trap that many CEOs fall into. I want you to understand that all tasks are not created equal. There's a $10 task, checking mail, logging receipts, posting to social media, booking appointments. Necessary? Absolutely. CEO level? No. Then there's the $1,000 tasks. Closing the high-value client, negotiating a partnership, building a scalable offer, setting the vision. Most CEOs are spending 80% of their week in the $10 bucket. One of my clients who ran an automotive shop, smart guy, great business. But every afternoon, I found him ordering parts online because nobody else knew the codes. That is a $10 task. Another client, a consultant, spent hours designing Canva graphics. She said, "It's creative and I enjoy it." But while she was fiddling with fonts, she wasn't pitching her $5,000 workshop. Every time you hold on to a $10 task, you're paying for it with a $1,000 opportunity. So I have a question for you. What is one task you did this week that someone else could have done? At least 80% as well as you did. That is your first delegation opportunity. And here's the micro win to start. Delegation doesn't have to mean a big hire. It could be using Calendly to book calls, automating invoices, training your crew lead to answer routine questions. Delegation starts small, but every step creates capacity. So let's look at the cost of actually holding on. And these show up in 3 places. It shows up in revenue. So every $10 task steals time away from the $1,000 opportunity. Another cost of holding on is your energy. Doing it all yourself, it fries your brain. I know it fries mine. A catering client of mine was so drained from orders and schedules that she actually lost her creativity, the very thing that her business was built on. And another cost of holding on is your team. When you refuse to delegate, your people never learn how to take ownership. You train them to wait on you, wait for every decision, instead of building a business that runs without you. And here's the kicker. The cost of not hiring is always bigger than the cost of bringing someone in. You think you're saving money, but really, you're paying for lost growth, lost energy, and business that collapsed the moment you step away. So here's the shift. Your highest value isn't in the doing, it's in the deciding. Operators do the work. CEOs lead the vision. This isn't just about tasks, it's about identity. You have to decide, am I the doer or am I the leader? When I ran my own concrete business, I loved being in the field, but I realized something. If the business couldn't run without me, it had no real value. And that's when I made the shift from operator to CEO. When you step into CEO mode, 3 things happen. You gain clarity. You can actually think strategically. You gain capacity. Time and energy, they open up. And you gain confidence. You trust yourself as a leader, not just as a doer. That's the shift that transforms your business from a job you work in to an asset that you own. I have another question for you. Where are you still showing up as the doer when you should be the CEO? Here's some real talk for you. Delegation will feel messy at first. You'll second guess yourself. You'll cringe when somebody does something differently. And you'll think, I could have done this for myself faster. And you know what? At first, you're right. Because delegation isn't instant efficiency. It's building capacity through systems and trust. I worked with a cleaning company owner who almost fired her new admin after one scheduling mistake. So instead, we built a simple checklist. Within a month, the admin was now handling 95% of scheduling without issues. 6 months later, she was running the payroll and customer service. If my client had quit at the first mistake, she'd still be drowning. So the way I see it, you have a choice. You can stay comfortable, you can keep control, and accept that your business always be capped by your personal capacity. Or you step into the discomfort, delegate imperfectly, and build the systems that free you to scale. There is no middle ground. So let's think about this. Are you willing to sit in the discomfort of imperfect delegation in order to step into the freedom of being a true CEO? As always, I have a challenge of the week for you. And your challenge is audit your tasks. Is it a $10 task or a $1,000 task? And then choose one. Pick one $10 task to delegate, outsource, or automate. Systemize it. Record a Loom video, create a checklist, or schedule a 10-minute check-in. Reflect. Notice the time and energy this process frees up. And repeat. Stack small wins until your business is no longer built on you. Every $10 task that you let go of is a vote for your future CEO as well. So let's bring this home. You cannot scale alone. Your business is a tool, not a trap. And every time that you delegate, you're not just freeing time, you're creating capacity for freedom, profit, and presence. And this just isn't about business. It's about family dinners you don't miss. Weekends that are actually free and allow you to recharge. And the energy to enjoy the life that you're building. If this episode resonated with you, I'd like you to do 3 things. Subscribe so that you don't miss it next week. Share this episode with a business owner stuck in $10 tasks. They need to hear this. And join me inside the Scalable CEO Academy at thescalablecEOacademy.com for step-by-step tools and support to make the CEO shift with confidence. And here's your teaser. In next week's episode, we'll go deeper into how to hire your first VA the right way. From job posts to interview scripts to test tasks. You don't want to miss this one. Until then, remember, steady progress beats hustle. Simplicity beats complexity. And clarity always creates confidence. Keep making the shift from doer to CEO.